Hey, ladies and gentlemen, boys and berries. Boys and berries. Why do I say that? That's a line. Boys and berries. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages. Did you know I used to be a ringmaster in a circus for 2 weeks with the Jose Coles International Circus? Introducing the acts. And now, the Chief Thundercloud. That was me. I did that for 2 weeks. Anyways, our featured guest today on Full Spectrum Fridays is our friend John Armstrong, and he's in the green room. So if you just hold tight, I'll go get him, okay? Just like that. There he is. John, how you doing?
Good to see you, Brad. I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm wonderful and half and then some to the 10th power of infinity. That's what I tell people. And they go, whoa,
Whoa.
That's really good.
That's really good. Never heard you say that before.
It's a lot of stuff. I don't even know what it means. So today we're talking about empowerment or empowered, sort of the same thing. And I remember, I think about that word. To me, it means just power. And you wonder, what is that? Like Tony Robbins and personal power, live with passion, all that stuff. How can you be empowered? What does empowered mean?
Well, let's bring up our visual here. Let's talk about where we've come from and where we're going and give some context.
And you mentioned,
yeah, so we're number 7 here. And maybe we also touch on empowerment too. So we just talked about reorientation last week, getting clear on where we just came from, what we've just been through as the transformation. And then as we come out of reorientation, we experience something inside that integrates us. And what integrates us inside could be something physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, energetic. And this integration inside is what gives us that sense of experiencing empoweredness.
Okay, I was just looking at that chart because there's that integration period, but that's not yet. I was thinking that kind of happens when you reorient. I'm always jumping the gun trying to get.
Well, we're really breaking it down super meticulously here. Like, I think empowerment, I'm just thinking off the cuff here, I think empowerment is setting people up for success. It's setting things in place so people could have an experience where they go inside and reorientate and build empowered states.
Well, I know that you go to those conferences and stuff and you get all hyped up and you hear new things and get new ideas. You get all excited and you're reorienting into being back home and you feel empowered because I've got all these new ideas and my brochure and all the notes that I took. And then eventually, if you don't have some kind of help guiding you through, you kind of, oh, that was a big waste of money. Why did I go do all that stuff? You start losing it. You need to be empowered by either the spirit within you or someone to kind of mentor you through, like you or a consultant or something that kind of says, come on, let's stay on fire here.
Pull up that slide again. You've jumped way ahead. You're so excited. Yes. Yeah, so you've already talked about returning home and implementing, but we're not going to go all into that today. But But yes, you finish the workshop, and there's a point of returning, whether you're physically returning home, or you could just say you return to your task, or you return to relating to somebody, or you return to what the issue or focus you have with, what you're working with on yourself. And so that simple return will happen after feeling empowered. And I wanted to touch on too, I was just trying to think about, well, how do we know what an empowered state experience is? What are some metrics of identifying when somebody is empowered? So I'm riffing off of 5 of them I've been thinking about here. You and I were talking about these earlier, that we move out of reorientation into empowered when we get a new sense of confidence, a new sense of assurance, self-assurance, or we could also build a sense of competency. A next iteration of competency gives us that sense of empowered. And then the third one here was our commitment. We've experienced this ourselves, where all of a sudden we just feel more committed, more determined. Maybe we made a mistake, or we did an iteration on something and got some feedback, and now we're going to come back to it with another level of commitment. So we're re-engaging. We can also sometimes have a mental identity shift, like a new insight or a new awareness builds our character, and we feel empowered in that new identity. And then the last one here is cadence. And we see that sometimes with just, my image is a sprinter or runner with we got the marathon coming up this weekend, and where do they find even more power inside to pick up the cadence?
Is cadence sort of like the rhythm?
Technically, I'm not an expert on cadence, so I don't want to. I think we're talking about the frequency, or how much more we have to give to the situation here.
Yeah, it's a word I've heard. Not sure what it is. It's almost like a capacitor, or having the capacity.
Ooh, I like that. More energy. Yeah, I would.
And
Let's go with the
you
more.
Find it in you to go to the next.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I was trying to keep this simple, like 5 C's, and I think we're going to riff on let's change it to capacity. So all of a sudden we get this new integration in ourself. It's the last 100 yards, and all of a sudden somebody finds this new power inside. And whether it's the energy comes through, or it's a new mindset, or their commitment to finish at a certain level.
The second wind.
The 30th wind if it's a marathon.
But you see the finish line, so you think, okay, I'm there. You get this other burst of energy saying it's possible. Like I remember Monica and I went to out west, where those big giant trees are, or whatever the heck park it was. And there was
Sequoias?
Something like that. Yeah, the big giant ones. And there was a hill that we were going to climb up, and it was a mountain. It was up there. You got to go through the pathways and stuff. And we should turn around. But you get to that point where, no, we're halfway. We got to keep going. So there's that capacity. Do I have enough to go all the way to the top?
Yeah.
Why did we start if we're not going all the way to the top? You got to get to your destination. You can't just turn around and go back home.
I like that all these kind of work together. You talk about, the self-conversation of, hey, this is what we've done, the narrative, the confidence, you got the energy. Yeah.
It helps to see that, and then having a coach or someone that, come on, you can do it. Keep going. You can do it. Come on. 3 more. You do 3 more. Come on, 3 more.
Yeah, sometimes the inner coach isn't enough. It's great to have some advocates around us.
Well, the inner coach sometimes isn't the coach. It's kind of like, why are you doing this?
Well, you're talking about the saboteurs.
Yeah. The mental. Like, what's the prize if I walk all the way to the top and I exhaust myself? I can stand up there and do a Rocky dance or something. Nobody's going to see me. Why do I want to do that? Why don't I just stay down here and have an ice cream cone?
Yeah, what saboteur is that? I think that's, that it's not the, is that the pessimist? The naysayer?
Yeah. It's that little guy on your shoulder that's telling you, you don't have to do this. Why don't you just sit on the couch and eat some Doritos?
Yeah. Yeah, I like to play with, when I start to get some of these negative narratives, if I'm in a place where I can slow down enough to identify that narrative, I got a little practice called rid of the critic. And the first step in that is to recognize the critic is there. And then I try to identify what's the narrative? Is it a victim? Is it a pessimist? And if I can identify it, then I can hear what the story is it's telling me. And then I want to deny that, distance myself from it, and start telling myself, an affirmative story. So it's almost this, I think you and I have talked about resistance training, using that, what do we call it? Using the friction of the saboteur kind of wearing at us, wears at our thoughts, it wears at our energy. We can lean into that, lean against it and say, no, that's not true. Instead, what is true is I've worked this hard. I'm halfway up the mountain and we're going to make this happen today. And we get to use those opportunities versus just be victims of the saboteurs. So we kind of want the saboteurs, not like we like them, but they help us get to the next level.
It does, you feel that little challenge kind of thing. So I guess you could be empowered by the saboteur because you want to conquer the next step. Might as well keep it going. And you have to have that compatibility buddy that says, come on, you can do it. Why not? You gone this far, keep going. You kind of got to always have that stuff. And that's one of the challenges with the solopreneur like myself is you end up sitting on the couch going, do I want to create this landing page or do this blog thing, or should I just scroll through some TikTok videos?
Yes, I was looking at some procrastination of mine today, and I'm like, nope, you don't have time to think and plan. And I just said, and I was about making some phone calls, and so I was just calling, and I was calling, and each time I called, I got quicker and quicker, so that my procrastination part of myself didn't have time to take traction, and just kept it moving.
And I suppose sometimes when you got a task like that of making basically kind of cold calls or warm calls, you know that you're interrupting them. But if all of a sudden they go, hey, John, thanks for calling. I appreciate that. All of a sudden it gives you the incentive or the feeling, I'm going to make another call. They like me.
Yeah.
I had a friend call today because he knew that I lived in Asheville a couple of years ago. And he wanted to see how I was doing in case there's some friends down there that had some problems and stuff. And I haven't heard from him for a while, but it was interesting how he called me up. He's local here, but he called me up to see how I was doing about their situation. It's kind of interesting. So it's kind of
make you feel
call.
Yeah, that's amazing. We're all connected. This would be a good time to talk about the outpost. Speaking of being solopreneurs, and
I've got that right here.
you've been talking about that last.
Can you read that? You read that? Here it is. It's the Entrepreneur's Outpost. That QR code is not going to work for you. You can try it if you want, but I don't know if it's going to work for you. So you might have to take and jump over to this little thing right here. And
nice job, Brad.
Go there, Full Spectrum Coaching and Consulting.com, and you can learn about the Entrepreneur's Outpost. Third Thursdays, noon to 1. And John's going to tell us more.
Yeah, to your point, it's an opportunity for us to not go alone. We can step out of doing it on our own, check in with some other solo entrepreneurs or business owners, and just kind of listen to what's up for everybody, celebrations, some struggles. And we kind of do what we call a drop-in mastermind style meetup. And so there's no necessarily consulting. We're not trying to fix or solve anybody's issues. We're just kind of listening to what is everybody bringing to the conversation that day. And so this is not, something we've created. It comes out of the practices of open space technology at the Outpost there. And you can sign up, get on the mailing list at fullspectrumcoachingandconsulting.com.
And what I like about it is it's business, yes, but it seems more like a friendship thing. Like if someone says, I just don't want to talk about business anymore. I took my kid to soccer and I really pushed him too hard and he slipped and broke his leg and my wife is going to kill me. I don't know. You got personal problems you might want to work through. It might be one of these things where you feel empowered by the entrepreneurs in the Outpost helping you through these things. Because when two or more agree, and you get multiple people in a mastermind, they can help out.
Yeah, we really like to keep it human-based, so we're all in a circle. There's no one teacher who has an answer for anybody else. And, trying to create a safe conversation as well as a brave conversation. So people that show up typically like to have a conversation that's authentic and real, and something that we can all relate to as humans. Whether we have kids or not breaking their legs, we don't just jump into, staying on the level of business and business topics, sales and revenue. But what's going to help us in this conversation get to the next level? So we're looking for each conversation to be kind of uniquely organic and emerging to the next level for all of us that join the conversation.
Yeah, just before we got on, I was interviewing this guy. He's got a business where he helps people with ideas, with entrepreneurial ideas, and gets their startup kick-started. And his whole thing was about people-centered, more of a purpose. Why are you doing this? Is it to make a bunch of money, or is it something you really care about? Because that's a different kind of thing. That's a different kind of empowerment. I mean, if you're empowered by the money and all of a sudden whatever your widget that you're selling isn't popular anymore, the money's going to go away. But if the purpose is still there, you'll keep going. You'll keep on going, whether it's making money or not. You just got to make it happen because I believe in it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, the physical follows the purpose for sure, whether it's a monetary end result.
Well, it's that Simon Sinek. He had that "What's your why" thing, and that
What's
was
your
a
why?
thing for everybody figuring out why you doing this. Because
Yeah.
why is one of the most important questions to me. It's like I joke around because when I was a kid, I'd say, "Mom, why is the sky blue?" And she goes, "Oh, it's because you keep on asking why,
Mm-hmm.
and finally she'd go, "Because I said so. That's why." That was her answer to it. But eventually, you ask that why question enough, it's a whole different, like, why did I start this business? Well, I wanted something. I didn't want to go get a job. Why?
Yeah.
Because I value my time freedom. Why? Because I had a near-death experience and I don't want to die. So you start learning why are you doing all this stuff. It's usually something bigger than selling soap or whatever.
Yeah. I like to integrate, in addition to the why, I love to integrate the where, when, what, and who. So you have all of those elements as a whole package to whatever you're manifesting.
Yes.
Whether it's personal or professional. Say again?
Ralph Waldo Emerson, he used to say the who, what, where, when, how, and why. Emerson's 6 friends.
Oh.
I had a guy that he was a trade show sales trainer. This is a little off topic, but it does help people in sales. That he says the person that asks the questions has the power. So that goes back into our empowerment thing. So when you're working a trade show booth, you don't just start, "Hey, here's our card, call us on Monday." You ask them questions like, are you the person that's responsible for making the purchasing decisions for your company? Because if they're not, maybe you don't want to talk to them. And if they're not, maybe you say, well, who is the person that makes the decisions within your company? Now you're getting closer to what you really want rather than small talk.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about all the features and benefits. Because another side story, this Ron Eccles is the guy that used to work with, and he tells a story of working with AT&T, and there was a kid that was at the exhibit space, and they were selling all the different phones, and the kid was showing all the different beep, beep, beep. It's got call waiting and all these different features. And the guy says, I want that one. And he goes, well, why do you want that one? It has no features or anything on it. He says, I work in construction. All my guys have big fingers. I want big buttons. But he never would have known that unless he asked the question. Yeah. So questions are powerful things. So if you want to feel empowered, ask why you're doing this and what are you getting out of it and when are you going to start and when do you want to retire and who's going to be working with you.
Yeah, I like that. And I like who's asking the question too.
Yeah. This is another sidebar thing, but you're familiar with affirmations, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where you say, I'm powerful, I'm strong. This friend of mine, Arne, he's in Costa Rica now, actually. And he created this deck of cards. He calls them question cards. So instead of doing affirmations like, I feel powerful, it'll say like, why do you feel powerful? Or what is it about your mood that's making you feel powerful? And that makes your brain start thinking differently rather than that monkey mind going, you're not powerful. You're a wimp. You should go work out. You're a loser. You ask the questions.
Opens up more dialogue.
It empowers you for sure. And that's our word, isn't it? Our little chart.
That's our word. Yep. So then we'll talk next week about the return. Now that we have the power, we're sensing empowered. What are we going to do about that? And so,
where are we returning to? We don't want to get into that right away because that's next week, but
yes,
you kind of wonder where we're returning to.
Yeah. Where are the different places we could return?
That's our little hook. So stay tuned next week when we return.
Well, thank you, Brad.
Before we sign off, we're at 21 minutes, but before we sign off, let's talk about this, your Portugal retreat in January. And then
absolutely.
You've also got another one coming up you can do something in Norway, I think you said.
We're talking about Norway. Yep. It's in the conversation. But Portugal is a go. We're going to Portugal at the end of January. And this is what we're calling an adventure quest, an inner quest while on an outer journey. So it's educational travel for getting to the next best level of yourself, whether it's a personal or professional aspiration. So we'll take a break from our routines of life and work, and we're going to go abroad, and we're going to kind of do what you've been coining, kind of a moving retreat. So each day will be a different level of curricula and different level of digging in deep to what's next for ourselves.
Maybe even a mobile mastermind. How would that?
Oh, I like that better.
It's better than retreat. Retreat sounds like you're running away from something.
I love the mobile mastermind. That's so good.
Well, I'm going to pop into the green room. If you want to stick around, I'm going to share with you something that Monica and I were working on when we were down in Asheville, North Carolina, when we lived down there.
All right. Sounds good. Thanks again. See you next week.
Thank you, sir. There you had it, my friend John, with the full spectrum coaching and consulting. That's how you get a hold of him. It's a long one, but full spectrum coaching and consulting, just like Full Spectrum Fridays. That's how you find him. And here's some more stuff all about it right there. His phone number's right there if you want to give him a jingle. Don't send him any text messages, though, unless you're serious, not delirious. Okay, that's it. Enough. Peace, love, and happiness. Enjoy the rest of your day. Be good, be kind, be nice. Be nice. See you later.